What's good, guys? It is the Bluebloods here coming at y'all with another 2 minute drill episode. It's Thursday, June 4th, and we are here with two big storylines coming out of HBCU football. So, let's not even waste any time, man. Let's get right into this, Brandon. We got a huge announcement. Hue Jackson, Eddie George has found their quarterback. Geremy Hickbottom is headed to Tennessee State. In case you guys don't know, he has been the Grambling quarterback for a while. He actually, Brandon, so this is actually just a berserk storyline. He transfers from Grambling to Bethune, who just got added to the SWAC. Before he even gets on campus, decides that he is going to transfer again to Tennessee State. So apparently he didn't sign his letter of intent, just gave a verbal commitment, and now he's here. And so this kid, 6'4", Brandon, 225, from Mobile, Alabama. He started as Devontae Kincaid's backup. He was the starter in 2018, Brandon. 16 touchdowns, almost 2,000 yards, along with 8 rushing touchdowns. He played three games for Grambling during the 2021 spring season before opting out. He only threw 1 touchdown. Grambling struggled a lot this spring season, as we all know. And so he's going to actually – so, Brandon, this is the funny thing, too. Tennessee State plays Grambling week 1.
Yeah,
so, opening game, revenge tour for Geremy Hickbottom. Brandon, how big of an announcement is this? And do you think he is the guy for Hue Jackson?
Zach, I mean, if you go back and look at his stat lines, and if you've seen him play, even though Grambling struggled this past season, and they've struggled in seasons past as well, they've seen a lot brighter days. He's been progressing. He really has. And, I mean, I guess last year didn't really help out a lot because it was a shortened season. But he had the highest pass completion rate that he's had over his 3 years in college so far. Yes, he had 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. Tough look. But, I mean, he can still get the ball to the receivers when he needs to. And yes, I understand he's going to a team with a brand new head coach. I mean, a guy who's never coached in college football before. But he's got an all-star lineup of coaches out there. You just mentioned Hue Jackson. You don't think that he's going to help out a little bit there? I think this is a great opportunity for Hickbottom and for Tennessee State as well. I think they picked up like a sneaky guy, a quarterback that you wouldn't really think is like top tier level, but I think the potential's there, Zach. I mean, last season, I understand he only passed like 60 times, but he had a 65% completion percentage. And the year before that, he had 60%. The year before that, it was just over 50, or it was about 55. I mean, you can see the clear progression there. In his first 2 seasons, he passed for nearly 2,000 yards each year. So he can get the ball out of his hand. He can give the ball to the receivers. I think he needed a better opportunity to do so, and I think he's going to get that at Tennessee State.
Yeah, and I mean, so listen, I get it. Grambling wasn't good last year. And, he might not be, the best quarterback in the SWAC. Keel Glass has that. Sugar Sanders is up there, whoever you want to put. But he was really good when he played. And I think he was the quarterback when Grambling knocked off Alcorn like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
Which is a huge win because Alcorn was balling at that point. And, he was the starter at Williamson High School down in Mobile where we're from.
Marcus Russell.
Yeah. And, I mean, listen, that whole, area, because I think it's Williamson, Viger, BC Rain, and I'm blanking on the 4th one. They turn out so many NFL prospects. Just if you look back through history, I mean, you got Blunt too down there, but I think they're way above. So I think Williamson's 5A and Blunt's 7 now, right?
I think Viger puts out a good bit of talent too.
Well, that's where Nick Fairley and I mean I believe there was an article. I'll have to link it when we post this on YouTube. This high school account that covers strictly high school football, Brandon, rated one of the 1988 Viger team. It's the 2nd best high school team of all time.
Right.
I mean, they had like 10 NFL players on that one team in like 1980. I mean, it was studded, but it was star-studded. So we played in a really tough high school environment. Me and Brandon can attest. Mobile has some of the best schools in the state down there, and playing in the state of Alabama, competitive high school football. But the biggest thing for me, Brandon, is when I'm looking at Hue Jackson. When you're when you move down from the NFL to college, your playbook is complex. You want a guy that can make all the reads, a guy who's smart enough to pick up the playbook, and a guy who has some experience. Hickbottom has played in plenty of SWAC games. The experience is there. He has the size and the arm strength to run and throw anywhere on the field. At 6'4", 225, he's mobile, has a live arm. And 3, he went through 3 offensive coordinators, Brandon, in one season. So he must be damn smart to learn that many playbooks that quickly. So I think Hickbottom not only fits exactly the type of mold that a first-year offensive coordinator needs, he has the skill set to really exceed in Hue Jackson's offense. We've seen Hue Jackson, Brandon.
Right.
He is a genius as an offensive coordinator. Yes, he didn't make it as a head coach, but not many people are making it as the Browns head coach anyway. Let's be honest, especially when Hue Jackson was there. And really and truly, you have to credit Hue Jackson for setting up the team that's succeeding now.
Yeah.
He drafted Myles Garrett. He drafted Baker Mayfield. And he went on the I Am Athlete podcast. He's the only reason the Browns didn't draft Mitchell Trubisky over Myles Garrett.
Oh, my God.
I just want to let that sink in.
Yeah, no, that's tough. Zach, so I have to mention this real quick, and it's not relevant whatsoever. But I looked at Hickbottom's 247 profile. This man has put on 45 pounds in college. He came out of high school weighing 180. He started at Grambling weighing 180 pounds. He's up to 225. This dude is a monster.
He is, and if you watch his highlights, he has that just like it factor where he can just go out and make plays. And when I think the playmaking ability he's going to bring to Tennessee State is going to win them a lot of games that they otherwise would have lost if he wasn't the starting quarterback. Because Brandon, y'all can comment below if you did know. Did Tennessee State have a quarterback that was anywhere near as good as Hickbottom?
I honestly could not tell you.
Exactly. And I love Brandon, when you see transfers at the FBS level, because at our core we're an FBS podcast that is just now covering FCS. You don't see a lot of transfers where they're like they almost like seek out their previous school. You don't see that a lot. Man, Geremy Hickbottom said, "Week 1, baby, I'm walking in. I wrote down the names, and now you're going to have to pay." And you saw Quincy Casey do the same thing. They said, "We aren't even leaving the division, my guy." Quincy Casey said, "I'm here. I'm right here at the doorstep. I know your address, and I'm going to mail it to you." And Hickbottom's, and the funny thing is, Hickbottom, when he was going to transfer to Bethune, they had Grambling week 13.
Yeah, that's tough. People don't talk about this enough, but Hickbottom might just be there at Gilbert of FCS, committing to one team and then just saying, "Yeah, never mind. We're not going to Cook."
Well, he said that the main reason he switched is the Hue Jackson thing. He said that he said, quote, I actually have his quote right here. He said, "I just feel like that's my best move being taught by NFL cocoaches. You can't get that. You can't get that everywhere." And we see, Brandon, we have talked about this just repeatedly. We've beat it to the ground. Man, no HBCU players drafted last year. The best way to get drafted is to have those connections. And Hue Jackson, Jeff Fisher, Eddie George are going to have those connections, just like Dion and his staff has those connections. It's a genius move here. And I think as good as Hickbottom is for Tennessee State might be just as good for Hickbottom.
I was just about to say we're not giving Jeff Fisher nearly enough credit here, because he is like, what is he? He's like player development. Is that what he's doing there?
Yeah, something like that.
So I mean, I know he doesn't have a coaching job, but he's on the staff. I mean, he's around the players, and he's probably only there so these players can network, so these players can get to know him, so that they can get their names out. So he can get their names out to NFL scouts, to NFL coaches.
Yeah, I like the transfer. I give it I'll give it a B plus, Brandon. So I don't want to give it an A. An A is if you just land a bona fide, like what would be an A? I mean, trying to think. Like if Nugget, Dejon Warren for Jackson State transferred and you land him, that's an A transfer. That's probably one of the best. Or Shiloh Sanders transfers again. You land him, that's an A for this thing. But I mean Quincy Casey because they're like you landed Keel Glass somehow. That'd be an A. But this is a B plus for me, Brandon. I think it's going to work out really well. I think he's going to win Tennessee State some games early and often. I think he's going to put it on Grambling. I don't think Grambling is ready for that revenge tour. So I really, really like this transfer here for Hickbottom.
Yeah, I do too.
But we got to get it here. Brandon, we started covering FCS because of Jackson State. So, like, you know, Scotty for All Script always says, like, he said he's like the original bandwagon for Jackson State. I feel that. Like, I feel like all at heart that we're all like Jackson State fans who just kind of got pulled into this. But, you know, I get a lot of hate in the comments sometimes, Brandon, because anytime I say something bad about Jackson State, all our listeners come at me, and I'm like, every time I say something good, y'all just are quiet. Like, give me some props here. I just try to be as unbiased as possible. But, man, Josh Lanier, former Alabama walk-on wide receiver, transfers to Jackson State. So, Brandon, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember the wide receiver who transferred from Bama originally, who posted those highlights of him burning the corners in practice?
I actually do, surprisingly.
Yeah. That's Josh Lanier.
Okay.
That wide receiver.
I was wondering, Zach sent me the topics earlier, and I was like, who the hell is Josh? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So he played one season at Alabama after transferring in from North Alabama. He started his career at UNA as a cornerback, Brandon, switched to wide receiver, saw action in 7 games as a senior, primary playing on special teams. He had 2 catches during Alabama's spring game. He posted that video. And Utah, Louisiana Tech, Louisiana Monroe, and James Madison were also in the mix here. And so this comes, Brandon, I know you weren't on the episode with me. Dalen Baldwin transferred, the leading wide receiver from last year. This commitment comes a day after. And, you know, I'm very, very interested in this, Brandon. So hang on real quick. So right now, Jackson State has landed Corey Reed Jr. from Louisville, caught 27 passes for JSU in the spring. Houston wide receiver Keith Corbin, who is a 2-time All AAC preseason selection for 19 and 20, and Shane Hooks, a former Colorado wide receiver. These are all the wide receivers they landed, including Josh Lanier in the portal. Brandon, how big of a transfer is this? And do you think this makes the loss of Baldwin just a little, like, kind of lessens that sting a little bit?
I mean, it sweetens the deal a little bit, I think. Honestly, Zach, I mean, I just kind of outed myself here as I was like, oh, who is Josh Lanier? So, I mean, yes, I think that if a guy's talented enough to walk on to Alabama's team, then it's probably a pretty good player. Like, Nick Saban doesn't just let anybody on that team. So if you were good enough to play even in their spring game, then you've probably got the talent it takes to play Division I college football. And I guess he's taking his talents to the FCS. He's going to Jackson State. I guess they had a hole at receiver, so this is, I guess, a good pickup for them. That's really about as much as I've gained from this, though, Zach. I can't speak to this one a whole lot.
Man, I got roasted in the comments from All Script when I went on there today talking about this, but you know, I was speaking truth. I know there's some people that agree. Brandon, it just can we pump the brakes just a little bit? There's people in the comments acting like this kid's Randy Moss.
No, I mean, absolutely not. He was a walk-on at Alabama. That's good, but you're not starting
it's not like he was burning Malachi Moore or Patrick Surtain or Josh Jobe. Like, I know I posted the name of the kid he burned, who he played primarily special teams. Yeah, he burned their starting safety this year in practice one time, but Man, we're talking about practice in just one play, my guy. If he was burning Patrick Surtain on the daily, Nick Saban would have put him on the damn field.
Zach said we talking about he turned into AI for a second.
We're talking about practice. Practice. Like, listen, I'll give Jackson State credit. I think Lanier is a really, really good slot guy, speed guy, and I think he's going to mesh well with what they brought in with Corvin from Houston. I think they're going to be two really good wide receivers. They got some guys returning from last year as well. But for me, I'm always going to pick the guy who's already done it on the field over the untapped potential. Josh Lanier has not played a damn meaningful snap of football in his life in college.
Let me say this, because we've been so adamant about the point of, yes, FCS football needs to be put, like, there's FCS and FBS in most people's eyes are miles and miles apart. We've been talking about how they're really not that far apart. But if we're talking about a guy who walked on Alabama, never played a snap, is going to be the savior of Jackson State, of course we need to pump the brakes. That's just not going to happen. I don't know.
Dalen Baldwin went out there and balled for you last year. You know, the funny thing, so I'm going to call out Jackson State fans for a second. Bear with me. I'm still with y'all in the boat. I'm picking Jackson State to win the fall. It should go undefeated because that's how it is. If I would have said, hey, Dalen Baldwin doesn't matter, and I would have hit y'all up in March when he was putting up 3 touchdowns for y'all against Grambling, y'all would have been like, you don't know what you're talking about. He's so important. Look at him ball. But now he transferred. He's a scrub.
Yeah.
And this dude who has caught like 3 passes his whole life is going to be the savior. Pump the brakes. I'm more excited. Okay, I'll out myself here. I'm more excited for Keith Corbin out of Houston than I am Josh Lanier. At least Keith Corbin has done something.
He played.
To be an all AAC selection for 2 straight years, that's balling. That's putting something on tape.
Absolutely.
Bro, okay. Now let me just say this. It's gonna be a eye-opening thing for Jackson State fans. You want to know why he had to post the practice tape?
Why?
Because there's no damn game tape.
Okay, fair enough.
He ain't burning Smoke Monday from Auburn. He wasn't burning Kyer Elam from Florida.
People forget about Monday.
Time out. I wasn't done. He wasn't burning Derek Stingley at LSU. He wasn't burning Eli Ricks at LSU. I mean, let's be honest here. He hasn't played.
Yeah,
I get it. And listen, I'll offer up a little asterisk for y'all that want to hate on this. Yeah, it's really hard to play over Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith and John Mechie. I get it. And, you know, that's all fine and well. But can we touch the brakes just a little bit? Like, I'm cool with going like 45. But right now, y'all are like on the gas. We're going like 150 and the speed limit's 45, guys. He is going to be good. He has a lot of untapped potential. But I'm not putting my money on him being all SWAC.
No.
I'm not putting my money on him leading Jackson State in receiving this year. I'm just saying, I think Keith Corbin's a better wide receiver. I think Shane Hooks might be a better wide receiver than what they got in Josh Lanier. It's good. It's all fine and well. But, myself, Josh paid at 247, Brandon sometimes. I'll say, man, listen, the transfer portal is good. But they're not all – another man's trash isn't always another man's treasure. Sometimes it's just trash, and you're looking past it. And I said it on All Scripts Live today. There's a reason they're transferring. Not every transfer is going to be an All-American. Pump the brakes, guys. I'm with you. On paper, Jackson State should win the SWAC. They should get into the FCS playoffs and make a run. That's how good that team is on paper. But landing a guy who has not caught a pass in college barely is not going to be the reason y'all win the title. I'm just saying. Can we just pump the brakes? I still give it a B-. I'll give you that because the kid is fast. He's big. He's got the hands. He's got the footwork. But until he shows me he can do it on Saturdays when the lights and the cameras are on, Then you just got a practice warrior. And Brandon, we've heard of players like that. Geremy Johnson for Auburn, practice warrior. He'd throw for 700 yards on Auburn's defense in practice. Then he goes out in LSU and throws the ball backwards.
That was a great game.
It was a great game. Guess what? Guess who isn't a practice warrior? Akil Glass.
Yeah.
Dalen Baldwin. All these dudes who have done it on the stage already. Can we just pump the brakes on a kid who has not even seen the field yet? And listen, if Josh Lanier goes out there and he's all swag, he leads Jackson State in receiving, I'll eat my words. But my bet is he's not going to do that, Brandon.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't speak to it, Zach. I haven't watched it. But, you seem very passionate about it, and I trust you. So,
hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But y'all know we got to keep it real here on the Blue Bloods, man. So comment below. I'm ready for the Jackson State hate. I know it's coming. I saw it in All Scripts live stream. I know it's coming in the comments. But hey, anyway, man, we appreciate y'all supporting. I promise you, we will agree on a lot more with Jackson State than we disagree on, man. I'm excited to see what they do this year, man. But comment below what y'all think about both transfers. Geremy Hickbottom, Josh Lanier, both good. Really good prospects. They both should hopefully ball out this year, especially Hickbottom. I'm so excited to see what he does at Tennessee State. But guys, give this video a thumbs up, man. I appreciate all y'all's support here on the Blue Bloods. I know B-Dub does too. We will be back tomorrow, final episode of the week. As y'all know, Monday through Friday, the 2-minute drill right here on the Blue Bloods YouTube channel. We got Mississippi State, SEC in 30 days posted right now on YouTube. Go check it out. And as always, guys, subscribe, like the video, and you can find all the audio versions of our interviews on all podcast streaming platforms. But for your boy B-Dub, for your boy Zach, the Blue Bloods, and the 2-minute drill, man, we are out.